Kevin Sperry flips from Oklahoma to Florida State.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So the Noles finally get a quarterback commitment that really wants to be there. Obviously, this is a out-of-the-blue kind of scenario. Kevin Sperry has committed. He is from Geyer High School in Denton, Texas, just northwest of the Dallas Metroplex. Plays at a prominent football program, one that wants to compete for state titles each and every year. And their football facilities, I've been to that high school, are as good as any in the country. He's at a place where development and winning are an everyday adventure. So great program he's from, but he's also got some background that's really interesting. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first, I want to go over what he does and why he fits Florida State. Here are some of the things that I know about him from watching film. This kid I haven't seen live. It's kind of unusual I say that about Florida State commitment, but he hasn't played in the Southeast. He's been in Oklahoma and Texas. So, number one, this is an explosive athlete, not just a dual threat quarterback, straight up explosive athlete. This kind of kid that can play wide receiver. Kevin is roughly 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in that range, around 200 pounds, and he is put together. Kind of guy that when he takes off, I remember the first few clips I was watching the senior film, I'm like, whoa. He put his foot in the ground, and when he goes forward, it's right now. It's like a running back or a slot receiver. He is going to pressure you. To that point, I'll just read the rushing statistics for him. He played at Carl Albert in Midwest City, Oklahoma last year. They won a state title. He moved to Denton Geyer this year. Rushing totals last season, 93 carries, 563 yards, 6.1, 11 scores. That's pretty impressive. This year, 106 carries, 642 yards, also 6.1, a couple more scores. He's been over 100 yards 3 times against greater Dallas area competition, playing McKinney and schools like that. He knows what it's like seeing FBS level recruits on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He's used to it. And they're still in the playoffs as of today. They're getting ready to play right before I do this. I got a playoff game tonight. But this is a guy that he will make you miss. He's not just a straight line guy. He will power through somebody, and he can hit the hole, again, like a running back. So for Mike Norvell's offense, this is 100% a fit. And it's also a kid that they know. He had been to Florida State's camp a couple of years ago before his junior year. So Norvell knew him. There's a video that Kevin actually retweeted on X that shows him throwing it into a basket from like 50 yards or something like that. So this is a kid that's familiar with Florida State and Norvell and his staff. Got to give him credit. You don't have an offensive coordinator and you're able to land a quarterback. That's pretty impressive. So Oklahoma loses Sperry to Florida State. And to be honest, this is a great sign for a number of reasons. The background with him, he played in Oklahoma, played in Texas, and he's a big winner. It's going to help Florida State down the road. Getting a quarterback out of the Dallas area is great for the Noles. As a passer, junior year, totally different because the competition is much better in Texas, but Oklahoma, he tore it up. 131 of 191, 68.6%, 2,564 yards, 13.4 per attempt, which is ridiculous. 31 touchdowns, 4 interceptions as a junior. This year against much better comp in the state of Texas and Dallas Metroplex, 131 to 234. Again, so far, they're still in the playoffs. As of this recording, 56%, 2,026 yards, 8.6 per attempt, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he's still good, but you're going up against, again, a lot more FBS kids this year. It's interesting, and he's got a lot of talent to it. But so he's moved, and he's been around and able to pick up multiple systems. But this is still the first year he's in Geyers. That's got to be a little bit difficult. I know he's a senior, but still that's not the easiest thing to do. The basic thing that I liked about watching him throw, his motion is natural, his ability to hit guys in stride, no big deal, whether he was on the run or from the pocket, plenty of arm strength. And quite honestly, he kind of reminds me of a shortstop a guy that's played the middle infield that has to get a pass off quickly or throw off quickly to complete a double play or something like that. He has some of that twitchiness with the way he throws. That may sound kind of odd, but in today's game with RPO, which obviously Florida State uses constantly, he is very, very good at finding a way to get the pass off under duress. I'm going to go over some of the things that I'm concerned about with Kevin here in just a minute, just developmentally. But to be honest, these are common themes with most quarterbacks, and his upside is tremendous. That is next here at Locked On Seminoles. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Sperry is a very anxious player, as I like to say about some quarterbacks. There are plays where watching his senior film and he has a clean pocket. But after so much time, he doesn't think somebody's open. He's still sitting there. He'll escape the pocket when he doesn't need to. This is a feel. This is an experience kind of deal. It's very common. Even right now, both of Florida State's young quarterbacks that are playing, Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhawk, you'll see them do that a little bit too. Kevin has the ability to make something out of nothing or make a bad play a really good one with his athleticism, but still, there is no substitute for waiting it out. If there's nobody, I don't care if it's 8 seconds into a play. If the pocket's clean, the pocket's clean. Stay in the pocket. He needs to do that more. Two other extensions of that. When he has a hot, meaning a guy, they've got a blitz coming or he sees a matchup that he really wants, every now and then he will, even from the pocket or on the run, but he won't set his feet properly. Guys wide open, just chill, throw the football, set your feet and go through. There's a few plays where the ball was sailing or it was too high. Even if the play was completed, it wasn't maximized because he just didn't set his feet properly. Lastly, and this is probably the most common yet most difficult thing to conquer, when you do need to run, Kevin sometimes would escape the pocket again. Freak athlete. He makes first guy miss almost every time. And he has space. Now, he might have somebody coming at him. But even if you are scrambling, if you have space, you have to slow down, set your feet, and then throw. He doesn't always settle his feet before he throws, and quite often he doesn't. That's why his percentage has probably come down this year a little bit. And again, the competition in Oklahoma is pretty good, but it's not Dallas. It's not even close. So I think that's part of it. It's the adjustment, and it's part of just growing up as a quarterback. I'm not worried about the physical tools at all. But until he consistently settles his feet, he's going to have passes going high. And when he gets to Florida State, I bet the first couple of weeks, I don't know if he's enrolling early, I would assume he is, but the first few weeks of spring, he'll be throwing picks left and right because he's going to be high. He doesn't always settle his feet, and he doesn't have a good trajectory on some of those are going to go high, and free safeties are going to love him. He's got to settle that down, and it's going to take a long time. This is not an instant impact guy because of that kind of stuff, but the long-term upside is through the roof. So it's more or less just technique. That's something that the vast majority of quarterback coaches are used to. Kevin just does it a little more than I'd like to see, but because of his arm talent, his ability to avoid the rush, which is off the charts, he gets more chances. It's kind of like if you're going to shoot free throws against somebody 1 to 10, he gets 15, you get 10. Obviously, that's not fair, but Sperry just makes so many guys miss and extends plays so well, he's going to get more passes off. Teams that don't have good rush lanes against Kevin Sperry, they could have an obvious sack with 2 guys, and he'll make both of them miss or break a tackle and then score from 50. That's the kind of athlete we're talking about here. Very unique player. So, once again, Florida State lands Kevin Sperry, really, really good prospect. I think that it's easy to see his long-term development, but if you're looking for an instant impact guy, that's probably not the best way to define him. And I think that's one of the reasons, this is the last thing I'll talk about, his recruiting ranking. It's all over the map, which I totally expected when I pulled these up, but here they are right now. 2 of the recruiting services aren't that high on him, and 2 are very high. This is a very difficult evaluation because it's not a short-term one. On 3 and 24/7 have him as a 3-star. On 3 has him as the 41st quarterback. 247, the 46th. ESPN and Rivals like him much, much more. ESPN has him as the 132nd player and the 11th quarterback in the nation. He's a 4-star. Rivals, 179th player in the nation, 12th quarterback. He is also a 4-star on their service as well. Totally different kind of deal, but it's just quarterback is more subjective in your taste. If you're somebody that if he's not going to play right away, I don't like him that much, then this is not your guy. If it's somebody that you see has some issues with technique and that really bothers you, it's not your guy. Again, subjective. So I think he is tremendously talented. It's up to him to fix some of the basic stuff, along with obviously the Florida State staff. We'll see who the next coordinator is, etc. But he has all the tools in the world that you could possibly want. If you want to watch his huddle film, I would highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, but you'll see the things I'm talking about, good and bad. They're consistent both ways. Can't teach the arm, can't teach the feet. He's fearless running, but he's also just going to have to learn to set those feet better. Once he does, Kevin Sperry can be a big-time college quarterback. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. You can find me on X at FBScout_Florida. And I thank you once again. I will see you again later today with the Florida State and Charleston Southern prediction.